Legoland evacuated and closed. The threat left in the park and the search for the person behind it.
That's a person without a heart, you know, just to hit a human being and just leave like that.
A high school senior hit and killed while walking home from work. The hunt for the driver who kept on going.
Very, very nice couple, been living there for many years.
A reverend's wife is killed after a truck crashes into her home. What neighbors did when the driver tried to run away.
From Tampa Bay's #1 news station, this is the Fox 13 5 o'clock news.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Linda Hurtado.
I'm Cynthia Smoot, and right now at 5 o'clock, the Legoland theme park in Winter Haven is pretty much a ghost town. Visitors and employees, everybody evacuated this afternoon when someone found a note with a bomb threat. Fox 13's Kelly Cowan's live in Winter Haven. So, Kelly, how credible do they think this threat might be?
Well, right now, officials are telling us they do believe this was a hoax, but they're not taking any chances tonight. They completely evacuated the park today just after noon, catching many families and employees off guard. And the property remains closed as bomb squads, the FBI, state and local law enforcement continue to investigate. Now, right now, K-9 units are combing the entire property looking for suspicious devices, and the park will not be reopened, they say, until they give the all clear. The bomb threat not only cut plenty of families' days in the park short, but it's also displaced several families for several hours who were actually staying here at Legoland's hotel. Now, we just learned, according to Legoland's official Twitter account, that they have since reopened the hotel. We talked to many families who are actually arriving here this afternoon to begin their vacation, staying at Legoland. They'll now be able to get onto the property according to that Twitter account, but the entire situation caught so many off guard today.
Right now, we have no luggage. We could probably get a place to stay, but we have no luggage. And with a couple of kids and my wife, that's not the best situation to be in.
Yeah, so a little bit of an inconvenience, but as I mentioned, according to that official Twitter account, the hotel at least is now reopened and allowing families onto that portion of the property. Now, also on that Twitter account, officials are saying they believe the park will be reopened tomorrow, but once again, it will remain closed until they're given the all clear from authorities who are investigating at this time. And those same authorities tell us that they don't believe this entire area is under any sort of threat as far as cars passing by. So they say no one should be concerned about their safety if they are driving in this area this evening. We'll continue to follow the situation, but for now, I'm live in Winter Haven. Kelly Cowan, Fox 13 News.
Heartbreak for the family of a Hillsborough High School senior. Ashley Perdomo was hit and killed by a car as she crossed Hillsborough Avenue. The driver did not stop and has not been caught. Fox 13's Aaron Mesmer is at the scene of the crash. And Aaron, let's start with the family. How are they holding up?
Well, they're devastated. That's the word, Linda, that we keep hearing from family and friends. They tell us that Ashley was a hard worker. She was an A student in school, and she also worked hard at her job, and that's where she was last night. She was leaving her job, crossing Hillsborough Avenue, and she was headed home from work, but she never made it there. This is Ashley Perdomo on Tuesday.
She was, very outgoing.
Smiling in cell phone video with her mom and brother. Just 2 days later, Ashley! Mercedes Concepcion can't even try to contain her emotions, and who can blame her? Her 17-year-old daughter is gone.
She's beautiful. My daughter loves me. My daughter say, "Mommy, you my prince."
Ashley was turning her beauty into a modeling career.
She wanted to become a famous model and buy a big house for my mother. That was her goal.
In the meantime, she had a job at El Unico Supermarket on Hillsborough Avenue. She left there last night, and as she crossed the road, a car hit her and sped off. Ashley's family was unable to reach her and unaware of what happened.
She no answer the phone because she had the accident.
And then we tracked the phone and it said St. Joseph Hospital.
Ashley died at the hospital. Her loved ones are in shock.
She was just a baby and she was just starting to live, and it's not fair.
So many things about this aren't fair. She was so young, a senior at Hillsborough High School, and loved by so many there.
It's hard for the students to understand. It's hard for us to understand.
And it's impossible for loved ones to understand this. While they're grieving and placing flowers by the road, the driver who killed Ashley is still out there.
That's a person without a heart, you know. We want justice for Ashley.
Florida Highway Patrol says that Ashley was not in the crosswalk, but they also tell us that this situation went from bad to worse because that driver didn't stop, and that is a felony in Florida. Now, troopers are looking for witnesses. They're also asking auto body shop owners to keep an eye out for any cars that might come in with front end damage, and that Crime Stoppers is also offering a $3,000 reward for information.
Very, very sad.
We feel for that family, Erin. Thank you so much, Cynthia.
Sure do. Thank you, Linda. Well, a 13-year-old boy also in critical condition after he was hit by a car. This happened, it was still dark this morning around 6:30 at Congress Street and Ridge Road in Port Richey. The sheriff's office says Gabriel Rodriguez ran across the street and right into the path of an oncoming car. He was a 6th grader at Bayonet Point Middle School, and that driver was not charged. In Lakeland, workers hauling away a pickup truck after it smashed through a house. The driver careened off the road, hit the house, and killed the woman inside. Detectives say that 24-year-old driver was driving drunk. Fox 13's Ken Suarez is there, and what a horrible situation. There you are in your house in the morning hours, and a truck comes barreling through.
You really have to ask, what are the chances of that happening? You're there, as you said, it's before sunrise, everything is fine and dandy. The truck comes through and all of a sudden things turn deadly. Your house is supposed to be your haven, your safe place, the one place that you can feel comfortable. This kind of stuff is definitely not supposed to happen, but unfortunately it did here this morning. A little before sunrise, Jan Foles had made coffee for her husband, a retired minister. His name is Wyatt Foles. He was getting ready to go to Bible study. She had just laid down in the guest bedroom when, boom, a pickup truck explodes through the front of her house. Mrs. Foles was instantly killed. Reverend Foles said the truck just missed him by a couple of feet. 24-year-old Ryan Talent of Plant City was at the wheel. A young man with a criminal history, including a DUI that he got in Hillsborough County in 2009.
When you run your truck through somebody's home, their sanctuary, you've murdered them with your truck, and we're going to hold you accountable.
Now, Talent was taken to the Polk County Jail, where he was charged with DUI manslaughter and several other charges. There's been a parade of friends and loved ones coming here to pay their respects to Pastor Foles all day long. Lots of hugs and kind words and kissing to help him through this very, very difficult time. Mrs. Foles was associated with 2 churches here in town, Redeemer Presbyterian Church, where she was a member, and Shepherd Road Presbyterian Church, where she worked part-time. Talked to people at both those churches. They tell me that she was a very well-loved lady, that she would help anybody, anytime, really help them through whatever hard times they had. See a lot of people here coming to help the Reverend, hopefully through this very, very hard time for him. Also want to mention something that probably speaks to the nature of the person who is being charged in this. When he got out of his truck, he came out here kind of a little bit dazed, and he said, I have to go to my house, which is nearby. Some neighbor guys, 3 of them as a matter of fact, were here, and they said, you're not going anywhere, and they had to hold him until investigators arrived.
Wow.
Cynthia?
Yeah, and the impact too, when you see that truck, you realize how hard he hit that house and went through. Thanks so much, Ken Suarez.
On New at 5, Clearwater firefighters battled a house fire this afternoon. This is on Oakview Avenue, and it happened around 2:15. Largo and Dunedin fire crews joined them in fighting the fire. No injuries to report, and we don't know what caused it yet.
New at 5, a Pinellas County deputy is arrested for selling his duty gun to a pawn shop. Stephen Smith also accused of stealing drugs that were supposed to be destroyed. The sheriff says Smith sold his pistol to a pawn shop in Newport Richey, and that when he was asked about it, he admitted also to stealing hydrocodone.
And he's lost his job over it, as he should. And as I said, this is an addiction problem, but law enforcement officers and deputy sheriffs here in Pinellas County are going to be held to the same standard as anybody else, and he needs to face the consequences for his actions, and we hope he gets the help he needs.
The sheriff also thinks this isn't the first time that Smith has stolen drugs. His ex-girlfriend is the one who turned him in.
A coordinated and vicious attack. That's how Donald Trump is describing new sex assault allegations against him. He's demanding a retraction from the New York Times, who interviewed 2 women. One of them, 74-year-old Jessica Leeds, claims that Trump grabbed at her on an airplane in the 1980s. Another woman, a writer for People magazine, claims that Trump groped her while she was on assignment at his Mar-a-Lago resort back in 2005. Trump says the accusations are being driven by the Clinton campaign and the mainstream media.
The establishment and their media enablers wield control over this nation through means that are very well known. Anyone who challenges their control is deemed a sexist, a racist, a xenophobe, and morally deformed.
Trump says he has evidence to disprove the allegations made by the women and will release them at a, quote, appropriate time. Let's turn now to political editor Craig Patrick. So, Craig, what impact do you think these new allegations will have?
Well, I think it depends on what that appropriate time may be for Donald Trump. Look, if he has evidence and it comes out saying the next 24 or 48 hours or beyond and it effectively refutes what they're saying, then I don't think it will have this in particular much of an impact at all. But we will see by the first half of next week for sure, because that's when the next round of polling will come out after these accusations have surfaced. The problem for Donald Trump and why this is continuing to dog him in particular is that the accusations, while they can't be substantiated, and they were years ago and they're just not coming up just before an election, they do fit the narrative that Donald Trump himself advanced, that he himself said in that Trump tape from 2005. And with that, this is a problem for the Trump campaign, and one that you see here that they are forcefully pushing back on.
Well, Hillary Clinton is not without her own controversy. What more have we learned about the WikiLeaks emails?
Well, you have a new series of leaks coming out every single day. The latest from the Clinton release shows that her staffers tried to figure out how to deal with their email controversy and what to say about it as it was erupting. And there was actually talk of whether or not just trying to dismiss it as a joke, working in even comedy skits about her email. That's the direction they were thinking about this. And then it dawned on them, well, wait a minute, we don't know exactly what's in the emails. We better be careful about this and go in another direction. Also, they were looking at, gee, who else can we blame for this besides Hillary Clinton herself? It shows you what was going on in the thought process behind the scenes, and it's something that's not particularly flattering to the Clinton campaign. Still, I think the most damaging for Hillary Clinton revelations have been leaks showing Hillary Clinton repeatedly praised Wall Street interest when that is not in the interest of the progressive base of her party, and the fact that she said she has two positions, one public and one private, something she had to address in the second debate and bet will come up in the third.
Yeah, and in both cases, it's taking the focus off some important issues.
Yeah, the issues are the economy and national security, clearly 1 and 2. And instead, you've got this bruiser, this tit for tat, and that's not what's going to drive voting behavior if you look at the numbers. People want to know, in particular, how you address stagnant wages and improve and create more jobs.
Right. Craig Patrick, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Pasco County schools are addressing this recent clown threats made via social media. The superintendent wants everybody to know that kids will face serious consequences if they take part.
Just this week, a 6th grader was arrested for creating a false clown threat against his school. Good kid, bad move.
That video message was sent out to parents and students. The county has had 4 students arrested just this school year. And there's a new law in place making it a second-degree felony to threaten a school shooting. The school district says these threats are a waste of time and resources, but they can't be ignored either.
It takes a lot of law enforcement time. It takes teachers away from teaching. It takes administrators away from running their schools. It involves people at the district level. It just is very disruptive and is a waste of time, but we can't ignore it.
School officials want to remind parents that it's more important than ever for them to monitor their kids' social media accounts, know who their friends are, and what they're saying online.
A messy crash closed down a Tampa road for the morning drive. A van and a dump truck crashed on 50th Street under the Selman Expressway. The dump truck overturned, spilling a lot of gravel across the road. It took several hours to get it all cleaned up, but 50th is open again, and there were only minor injuries from that crash.
So can you believe it? The Lightning opening their 24th season tonight at Amalie Arena. Kind of a different feel to this year's team, with a lot of folks already calling them the favorites to win the Stanley Cup. Our sports director, Scott Smith, of course, there at the arena tonight. And boy, it sounds like there sure are some lofty expectations going into this first game, Scott.
Oh, without question. The season starts today. Here we are back on Thunder Alley. It seems like just yesterday I was out here and we were talking Lightning playoffs, but they're back again. And what an offseason for this team. Steve Yzerman and company able to bring back the entire squad, getting long-term contracts to Steven Stamkos and Victor Hedman, and able to bring Vasilevsky back and Ben Bishop. The whole gang is back. And with that, the expectations this season, as you mentioned, are sky high. Anything less than the cup really is probably a disappointment, but I'm gonna conduct my own little straw poll here. I have some Bolts fans with me, guys. Expectations on the season.
Win the cup, hopefully.
Win the cup.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Win the cup. Yeah.
That's kind of the thought that I thought we were going to get here. Okay, what do you think? Expectations?
Yeah, win the cup.
Anything less than that is what?
I mean, it's okay.
No, it's not okay.
But
You're not.
No.
We got to coach them up. It's just game one.
We gotta support the team either way.
Right.
But win the cup.
You gotta support you as long as you win the cup, right? By the way, I like this. Do you make that yourself?
I did make this myself.
It's a dress/lightning sweater, but expectations still very high.
Yes, very, very high.
And that's because why?
Because I think we got everybody back.
The gang is back. The band is back. What do you think? What do you want to see this year?
I want to see some more consistency and better on the power play. That's what I expect out of them.
And what's that going to result in?
They're going to win the cup.
Winning the cup. So you can see the theme here, winning the cup. It all starts tonight, game one against the Detroit Red Wings, the team that they eliminated last year in the playoff run. We'll have much more coming up in sports at 5 o'clock here. We'll send it back to you, Linda and Cynthia.
I know. Can you believe it?
No.
Thanks, Scott. We'll check back with you later.
I like that lightning fashion.
I know.
Dresses.
Hey, we wore a lightning blue.
We did.
Look at that.
We're all on board. So he was caught on camera trying to steal a car, but did not realize that a teenager was inside. We're going to tell you how police tracked him down.
No, I don't want to ever see him again. No.
Own son, the punishment he's getting for nearly killing his grandmother.